Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start out by saying my name is Deb Strong. I'm an annuity sales manager here at Financial Brokerage in Omaha, Nebraska. And first of all, I want to thank each of you for attending this call today. I'd like to start out with just a couple housekeeping items for Financial Brokerage. And a couple of the things that we have here to help you guys in your everyday business practice is some 2019 incentive trips. And you have 2018 to qualify for these. One trip is to the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs, which is a fabulous resort that I had the pleasure of staying at a few years back. That only requires $1.125 million of annuity premium. The other one is an Oak Lake Lodge trip in Canada that I've talked to several guys that went to that last year and had a wonderful time. That's only $875,000 of annuity premium to qualify for that trip. We also have an unlimited referral bonus program for all of our agents that simply refer another agent to Financial Brokerage. You can simply get a bonus on the business that the person you refer to us does, and that's in all lines of our business: life insurance, annuities, long-term care, DI, med subs. So please call us, please call our office for details. We'll put our number up at the end, but it is 1-800-397-9999 and ask for the annuity department. I'd also like to take a moment to introduce two very special people, Ty Petchy and Tony Tercy from Principal Financial. I had the honor of meeting these gentlemen recently, and I couldn't be happier with Principal Financial as far as the company and the people that represent it. We're very, very proud that they're one of our strategic partners, and we love them and their products. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the table over to Ty to tell you some interesting things about Principal that you guys are going to love. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Deb, and good afternoon, everybody. And as we're switching the screens over, hopefully it comes up here shortly. Deb, can you guys see my presentation online?
We can.
Okay, perfect. Like I said before, technology is great, but only when it works. And first, let me say thank you to all you on the phone as well. We do appreciate you taking the time to join us this afternoon. We know your time is extremely valuable. And especially during the business hours, we do and hope to deliver some benefit, some interesting topics, benefits, things you can use and turn into business immediately within your practices. So I do appreciate you taking the time during business hours to dial in. So what I want to do today in a short amount of time here is cover a couple things. First, you may or may not be familiar with the Principal Financial Group. So we're going to spend just a few minutes talking about who is Principal, and then we're going to get into two product sets or two product solutions that this year within Principal have been exceptionally competitive, and we are seeing a tremendous amount of premium flow at our organization in these two products. So we'll go into the Principal Preferred Series Fixed Annuity, and then at the end, we'll just briefly talk about the Principal Secured Choice Indexed Annuity. So that's kind of the agenda, the topic for today. So let's just jump right into it. Who is Principal Annuities? Well, you may be familiar with Principal Financial Group, but who is Principal Annuities? So what I thought I'd do is just take a step back and do a kind of a quick commercial on Principal. Principal was established in 1879 in Des Moines, Iowa. We've always been in Des Moines, Iowa. It's always been our headquartered. We're actually one of the largest employers in the entire state of Iowa. When it comes to insurance companies and annuities, ratings are about the most important thing you can look at when you look at a company. And we are A+ rated by the AM Best and S&P. Again, you can look at Moody's and others, but we are an A+ rated carrier. We are a very large company. We currently manage about $655 billion across our organization. That is in mutual funds, that is in annuities, that is in retirement plans, that is in institutional and investment management. So we are a very, very large company. In fact, we're ranked 236 on the Fortune 500 list. So we're right about halfway halfway in the middle there. We have been publicly traded for almost 15 years, and recently we moved from the Dow Jones the New York Stock Exchange to the NASDAQ, and our ticker symbol has remained as PFG. We do employ about 14,000 people around the world, and just over 10,000 of them are in the United States, with a very, very large portion of them actually located in Des Moines, Iowa. So we kind of maintain control of the downtown market as far as real estate, and so we employ a lot of people. One of the things when you think about Principal Financial Group, a lot of people know us as an insurance company, and that is absolutely correct, but we are a global asset management company as well. We are one of the leaders in the retirement plan space, be it 401ks, be it profit sharing, be it non-qualified, and of course disability insurance and life insurance. And under that insurance umbrella, I would put in the annuity line as well. Our first actual annuity, kind of getting more to the annuity specific, our first actual annuity that was ever written in principle was in 1935. So we have been doing insurance, but annuities for an exceptionally long period of time in the industry. When it comes to the annuity solutions, we are not a VA shop. We are not an index shop. We are, I think, a well-rounded organization that offers a variety of annuity solutions, be it a fixed annuity, which we'll talk about today, as well as the indexed annuity. We do have a couple versions of a variable annuity, and in our business, with retirement income solutions being one of our key focuses, we have an excessive amount of resources and ideas regarding guaranteed income, which that would include an immediate annuity, a deferred income annuity, QLAC, things of that sort. So we're not just an index shop, a VA shop on the annuity side. We believe in a well-rounded stable of solutions that can address savers, people who want to be savers, people who want to be investors, or people who need income, or any combination thereof within the Principal Financial Group. So again, if you weren't familiar with Principal, I thought it might be just a little advantageous to give a quick snapshot of who we are. But first and foremost, we are a publicly traded large company with certainly a global asset manager and based in Des Moines, Iowa. So I thought that might be beneficial for you guys. So let's jump right into the Principal Preferred Series fixed annuity. And at the end of the call, if this is some things that is of interest to you, I strongly encourage you to reach out to Deb and her team to get some additional information on. But what I did is instead of sending out like a full product description, I went through and kind of thought, what is the most important things about this product in today's market? So I kind of wanted to share a list of bullet points that I thought might be pertinent, or at least kind of set us apart from the competition. First and foremost, it is a traditional MYGA fixed annuity. So it's a multi-year guarantee annuity. We issue this contract up to age 90. That means that your client has not achieved their 91st birthday. So we do issue this to some senior ages. This fixed annuity offers multiple durations. By that I mean different surrender schedules. You can purchase it as a 3-year product, a 4-year product, a 5, 6, or 7-year product. This is not a product that offers a 3-year guarantee on a 7-year surrender schedule. You buy our 3-year option, you buy a 3-year surrender, hence the multi-year guarantee aspect of this product. In today's market, you think about where interest rates are and where the yield curve is, there really isn't a lot of reward for going longer term commitments because the yield curve is very flat. So where we've seen most of our business and where we've put most of our emphasis has been on our shorter term fixed annuity solutions, and right now our 3-year option is leading the industry as far as competitiveness. So a couple things that make it unique. Most fixed annuities, especially on the short term range, are single premium products. Ours is not. Ours does allow for additional or flexible premiums in the first year only. What it does not do, it does not start a new surrender schedule. So we call that a non-rolling surrender schedule. So if someone were to make a purchase today and then in 6 months add premium, that addition is on the original surrender schedule. It does not restart a 3-year window which again is somewhat unique in short-term fixed annuities. The one thing that jumps out a lot when you do a side-by-side comparison is the liquidity. How much do carriers allow as a free withdrawal amount? We allow 15%, even if you choose our 3-year option, 15% immediate access to money. As an example, you send us a $100,000 premium, tomorrow the client can pull out $15,000 or 15% with no surrender penalty. We're the only company that I know of that offers this much liquidity starting day one on a short-term annuity in the marketplace. Some common features, I would say, would be the next one, the waiver surrender. This is very common in a lot of products. There are some slight variations, but it's a waiver surrender for a disability, confined to a medical care facility, or diagnosed terminally ill. Again, there are some slight variations, but that's a pretty common rider that are contained in fixed annuities. The next feature is not very common, and this product's actually been around for just short of 4 years. And when we developed this product, we listened to the field intently on what can we do different, or what can we do to fit better in an advisor or agent's book of business. And the one thing that we heard over and over is it's getting harder to move from annuity to annuity in the marketplace. Or I have all these fixed annuities in my practice and they earn 3% minimums, and I shouldn't be moving them for the client's best interest, but it doesn't generate any revenue for us. So what we did in this product, which is somewhat unique, is we've developed automatic renewal feature. So let's go through an example. You purchased our 3-year fixed annuity. 30 days prior to the last anniversary, there's a notification process to the client and the agent that says you're coming up on your anniversary. You have the opportunity to make an election on your money. So what we tried to pattern this after is like a certificate of deposit at a bank. The bank sends out a notice on a maturing CD about 10 days in advance. If the owner of the CD doesn't respond, the CD automatically resets at the exact same term at what the bank calls current rate. Current rate typically is not new money rate within the banking system. But the people who tend to buy fixed annuities are very familiar with how a CD functions. So we decided to kind of mirror that with our automatic re-up feature. So the bank gives a 10-day notice on CDs. We give a 30-day notice and give them a 30-day window to make an election on their money. If they decide to leave it right where it's at, it'll reset the surrender schedule for another 3 years, just like the CD functionality, but we provide them new money rate, the same rate as if you wrote a brand new application and issued a new contract. So what's nice about that is that the client deems that this is in my best interest to stay with principal, stay in the 3-year term, and receive a competitive rate at that time. They don't have to do anything. There's no new paperwork. There's nothing they sign. It just automatically resets. And here's what's different with principal. When it resets, the agent receives full compensation again, even though there's no paperwork involved. Let's say instead of the 3-year option, maybe they want to move it to the 5-year option instead. They can do that with a 1-page service form. So it's not a new application process. It's just a 1-page service form the client signs, sends it to us, and at anniversary, we'll move with it from the 3-year option to the 5-year option. Again, if it stays within the contract, the agent does receive full commission if it stays in the contract. If they decide at that point in time that they don't want to leave it in the contract, either where it's at or in a different term, the option was you could always transfer it to another carrier, or if they need the money, you cash it out. So what we tried to
bring up a point.
Yes, go ahead, Deb.
I'm sorry. So you could really say that the commission resets when the policy resets if the client decides to do that. And there's really, and they're not going to go back through suitability if they decide to go from a 3-year to a 7-year contract. They're just going to use one piece of paper to do that, correct?
That is correct. There is no, since this is an election on an existing contract, there is no need for a new application. There's no need for a new account form. There's no need for a suitability review. You're making an election on an existing contract that's on the books. So yes, and that's kind of the end result of why we want to do this. We feel that you shouldn't have to move money if we're competitive enough at renewal, which is our responsibility to be there. The advisor who services this client ongoing, they shouldn't have to be forced to move money to generate revenue. We would love it if the client stays with us for a long period of time and the relationship strengthens between the agent and the client. If it's deemed it's in their best interest, we want to make sure that the agent is compensated for their service. So it's a very, very unique feature. I'm not aware of anybody in the market who is paying a full commission on a re-up feature. It's not new. There were some of these years and years ago under a different interest rate market, but in today's market, I'm not aware of anybody doing that. So
I'm not either. That is just remarkable.
Yep. And so then let's kind of finish this out, and we'll talk a little bit about rates for a second. So again, intentionally, we tried to structure this fixed annuity to feel and function like a certificate of deposit. You choose your term, you know your rate for the term, you know when you're going to mature, and you know you have access to money along the way. So it is what we'll talk about today, which is where we're seeing most of the business, is a 3-year rate. But one thing I also want to point out, which is somewhat unusual, most short-term annuities in the market today have an MVA, or market value adjustment component to that product. We do not. We offer a return of premium rider and a non-return of premium rider, but there is no MVA or market value adjustment component in this product, which again is somewhat unique when you start talking about short-term fixed annuities. So I apologize for maybe it's a little blurry on your end, and we talked about everything on this page except the rate. So we actually band our rates at 3 different levels: under 50,000, 50 to 100, and 100 plus. And currently, the 3-year guarantee period without return of premium is 2.85% guaranteed each year for 3 years. So, and that is at a $100,000 premium. If your client has less than $100,000, it's a little bit less than $285. As an example, the $285 would drop down to $265 if it's between 50 and 100, and at under 50,000, it's 2.5%. So what we've tried to do is we tried to structure this so the folks who have the most money, who are always after that little bit of extra rate, we're able to give that to them at $100,000. And again, if this is of interest to you, after the call, certainly circle back with Deb and her team there, because they can provide you with all the rates of all the different durations and interest rate bands as well. But for this topic today, I thought it might be just pertinent to focus on the 3-year option at this point in time. So let's go into what I think is maybe more important than product. I think the product stands on its own. I think it's very, very competitive. There's definitely some unique things in it with flexible premium, 15% liquidity, re-up ability when revenue. But let's talk maybe about some opportunities. Where would you go to find opportunities for a product of this nature? Well, the first thing that I like to talk about is maybe more of an observation of what's going on in the market. Not to get into any kind of real detailed market discussions, but we have had 9 consecutive years of positive equity returns. And when I listen to average investors, my parents as an example, they're getting a little nervous about the market. They know they're at high levels in their account balances, and their objectives may begin to think about, I might need to start protecting some of these gains. I remember 2008. I remember when the market doesn't always go up. So you think about the investor objectives out there. You may be having more and more conversations about, man, we've had a really good run. Maybe we should think about protecting some of this. I'm not saying we get out of equities altogether, but the last question or last comment you'd ever hate to hear from a client is, I remember when my account balance used to be this. The ability to take some money off the table, protect some of that gain is certainly, I'm hearing more and more in the marketplace. So again, some investors' objectives are changing. They may not be as bullish on the equity markets as they were in the past. Certainly a lot of noise in the industry that can have an influence on that. Obviously, a fixed annuity continues to be an excellent choice for a cash or certificate of deposit alternative. Again, I get back to saver mentality. These are people who want absolutely no risk or very little risk. They're just looking, they have a lot of cash on the sideline. They're just looking for a little bit better return than what the bank can offer them. This fixed annuity for qualified and non-qualified money is a great alternative play because it's short-term and pretty competitive. The other thing I was thinking about was kind of going back to the market discussion is fixed income changes. We know that the equity markets, so we've experienced some volatility in the first half of the year, but what's the one dynamic that's really changed in the market? And it's not necessarily equities or stocks, it's on the fixed income or bond side. And what we've seen so far year to date, which I think has probably been well overdue, is the rise of interest rates. So we have a lot of people who are sitting in fixed income instruments who, quite honestly, because of the rate market increases, the interest rate increases, maybe not getting rewarded for even in fixed income assets. So remember the relationship of rising, NAV prices and interest rates. One goes up, the other goes down. Well, we're in a situation where rates have come up and are still projected to go up over the next couple of years. What does that mean for people sitting in fixed income investments? So we have some financial advisors who are registered who maybe think about using our 3-year fixed annuity as kind of a complement to maybe some fixed income assets as well. And I kind of pose this question because I kind of thought of it this way. If you were a registered advisor and you could buy fixed income or bonds, would you buy a 3-year bond that's A-rated today that's yielding 2.85%? And I've looked through our own broker-dealer principal. I can't find a 3-year duration bond A+ rated yielding this in the open market. So again, yes, it's a fixed annuity. Yes, it's a CD cash alternative, but maybe think bigger picture. How does this maybe apply to an overall portfolio? And then the last thought I had is, and this is one that a lot of people don't think about very often, but using a fixed annuity in a business setting. Most business owners, sole proprietor, partnerships, what have you, if they're successful, and there's so many of them that are, they sit on a lot of cash. And the process that they've been using the last couple of years is just flipping 6-month CDs because they don't want to risk the money, but they don't want to commit it long-term either in case the business needs it. So we've had some success recently of approaching business clients on a fixed annuity, short-term fixed annuity, for a parking ground for some of that cash. So the business would own the annuity. They get the full benefit of the contract. So they get the liquidity aspect, they get flexible premium, they receive the rate. The only thing that they would not receive would be the tax deferral each year. And that's because it's a non-entity or non-person entity that owns that contract. But definitely keep that in mind. There are opportunities in the business market with a 3-year fixed annuity. And again, this is kind of a high level, but if you want to get it deeper into that, Deb and her team can absolutely assist with that kind of conversation as well. So, in the sake of time, we'll keep moving on, and let's look at our indexed annuity, the Principal Secure Choice Indexed Annuity. And when I think about the indexed annuity marketplace today, I kind of takes my breath away on how far the market has come in a short amount of time. And what is being included in some of these indexed annuities today, most of us probably never thought we were ever going to be in an indexed annuity, even as most recent as 3 or 5 years ago. There's definitely some very, very interesting aspects to a lot of these fixed indexed annuities, be it with living benefits, calculation methods, indices that you can select from, spread fees. I mean, there's shared downside. There's so many different variables in the marketplace. And the reason I kind of mention that is because this is not a Me Too product. This is not trying to keep up with every other indexed annuity out there. In fact, we have kind of gone the opposite direction, and we have had tremendous success with it. Instead of trying to create the newest mousetrap in the market, which seems like most people are, what we've tried to do is maintain the simplest index annuity in the market, so people who maybe don't need income or just looking for the next alternative to even a fixed annuity have a place to go. So when I look at our indexed annuity, you're going to see a lot of similarities to our fixed annuity, but I want to point out a couple things. First and foremost, what attracts people is the simplicity of this product. Tony and I, and Tony's my internal, and he's on the phone with us, we get questions all the time, does your product have this? Does your product have that? And the answer is no, we don't, and that's intentional because we want to keep it as a simple index annuity. Our concern is people and agents understand what they're selling and buying at all times. So we'll talk through that in a little bit more, but kind of a few bullet points on this as well. It is a single premium product that we do issue to age 85. Like our fixed annuity, we have multiple durations or surrender schedules they can select from. The shortest term is 4 years, and that makes Principal in a unique space all by itself, is there just aren't very many 4-year indexed annuities in the market today. Most are 5 and 5, 7, 10, or even 12 years are the common terms. We have a short-term indexed annuity that gets a lot of attention in the market. Our product guarantees 100% participation for the life of the contract, so we can never change participation on the owner. We have 2 calculation methods, and we look at one index, and it's the S&P Composite Index. We don't look at Russell, or we don't look at mid-caps. We don't look at a proprietary Goldman Sachs or anything like that. We look at the most recognized index in the market and most broadly based, which is the S&P 500 Composite. We have 2 calculation methods. One is probably one that you're all very familiar with. It's a traditional annual point-to-point reset calculation. So you buy it, that's point A, point B is anniversary. What did the index composite do? You get 100% of the return up to that cap. And then each year that cap gets reset. And I'll show you a couple of the caps here in the next slide. We also have another calculation which is becoming more popular. And again, I think it's because of its simplicity, and that's a performance trigger calculation. Whereas the point-to-point will likely be a range of returns for your client. We know the worst case in an index annuity is 0. The maximum is the cap. But if the index doesn't perform to the full cap, your return is going to be somewhere in that range. Whereas a performance trigger calculation, all we care about from point A to point B, point-to-point, is point B positive? Is it 1 penny higher than where we started 12 months ago? If so, they receive the full cap. So, and again, I'll go through an example of the caps for you here in the next slide. We do band this product as far as premium, but we only have one band. It's under 50 and over 50. So, and I'll show you them caps here in a second. Our guaranteed minimum surrender value, I would say, is very common with where most carriers are in the market. It's 90% compounded at 1. We do offer 10% immediate liquidity, which again I think is pretty common in the industry. We have a very similar waiver of surrender for terminal disability medical care facility. And what is not common is we do offer that same exact automatic renewal or re-up feature in our indexed annuity that we do in our fixed annuity. So again, quick example, someone purchased their 4-year indexed annuity. At the end of 4 years, there's a 30-day window. Client has the ability to make an election what to do with their money. Leave it where it's at, change your term, 1035 it to another carrier, cash it out. If the money stays in our product, same term or a different term, we will pay the agent full commission again. This is again without a new application. This is without suitability review. Very, very unique in today's marketplace that an indexed annuity is paying full commission on a re-up feature. So again, kind of makes it a little bit different in a couple aspects. So
that's huge.
Yep, it is very unique. here is the current caps on this indexed annuity, and I'll start with the 4-year. So under 50,000, the 4-year cap, which again is annual renewable, is 510. At 50,000, it's 5.3% or 530. The trigger is at 425 for under 50 and 440 for over 50. So most people who pick up this product initially are attracted because it's one of the shortest term index annuity on the marketplace. Then they start looking at, well, what else is contained within the contract? And they look at that re-up feature, very attractive. But they also start looking at what some of the other caps might be. And again, because of the yield curve being somewhat flat, there really isn't a whole lot of reward going out much longer term than 5 years. So I put the 5-year caps out there just for a comparative situation. So if the term isn't that big of a deal, but they kind of want to say short term, your client, if they're okay going 5 years, I wanted to show the additional opportunity by going 12 more months. So at 510 for 4 years for the point to point, that would now go to 545 for a 5-year under 50,000. The 530 goes to 570. So there's about 35-40 basis points difference in opportunity for return by going 1 more year. If you look at the trigger, the performance trigger, 4.25 to 4.5, 440 to 465, again about 25 basis point difference. If the duration isn't a factor, maybe the 5-year makes more sense. That's entirely between you and your client. We do offer 6- and 7-year options here, but quite honestly, for the additional commitment and time, I just don't feel there's enough reward for the client. So I've picked out the 4- and the 5-year option because that's where, quite honestly, we see almost all of our business. But again, at the end of the call, if you want to explore this solution a little bit further, contact Deb and her team, and they can provide you with the complete rate grid and everything of that sort from that perspective. So again, like we did on the fixed annuity, I like to just kind of throw out one thought on our indexed annuity. And again, I'm a simple guy. I like to keep things simple with clients. So I'm just going to pose out one question to you. How do you turn a 1 penny gain, 1 penny of gain in the next 12 months in the S&P composite? So we're talking 1 penny of gain in the market into a 4.4% guaranteed return for your clients. Think about that. My client has to earn 1 penny in the S&P composite. If the S&P composite does 1 penny, my client gets credited 4.4% return. No fees, no risk of principal. We're after 1 penny of gain in the composite index in 12 months. I should say at the end of 12 months. What I just described there is the performance trigger inside our indexed annuity. So you think about how simple of conversation this can be with your clients. All we're looking for if I buy it today in 365 days, I'm looking for 1 penny of gain in your account balance, and you're going to earn 4.4% with no risk and no fees. If it doesn't earn a penny, that means that the market is negative. Your client earns 0. But sometimes earning 0 isn't that bad as opposed to the other option if the market's down. So think about that as I kind of wrap up some thoughts on this. So we talked about who is principal. We talked about our preferred series 3-year fixed annuity. We touched briefly on our index annuity. Again, both of these, in my opinion, are great saver products for the conservative investor. I think you could also think broader picture of geez, am I worried about rising interest rates? Am I worried about protecting gains? So you can think of it as broader picture than just a saver mentality. But I think as at least initial introduction for those who are on the call, we absolutely appreciate your time. But I think so. I always end all these calls that I do is, so now what? I've got maybe have some questions. I want more information. How do I get started? Well, obviously, I think that one of the best places to start is with Financial Brokerage, your partner, with Deb and her team. And if you have questions regarding, I want to receive the full product descriptions, I want to get the full rate sheet, absolutely contact them. You know, how do I get licensed with Principal? What's the appointment process? Obviously, contact Financial Brokerage. And then any other additional questions that you may have on the products themselves or on Principal, you know, I'm always available for Deb as a resource and her team, and so is my internal wholesaler, Tony Tursey. But with that, I think I'm probably on time, or maybe just a few minutes over. I would like to maybe open it up for any questions, or even Deb, for you guys, if you have any comments or anything you would like to add.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for your time today. I want to thank everybody on this call. But something that I have noticed, you know, since making the introduction to you guys, is that when I think of Principal, I think of nothing but positive things. For instance, the solid, sound financial company, over $600 billion, that's with a B, in assets. You've been around, you wrote your first annuity in 1935. But what I like the most is that not only are your products competitive, but they're very, very simplistic. And that's what agents are screaming for today, because we've got, you know, plenty of carriers with 97 different indices, and it gets very cumbersome to explain this to your clients. So if you're looking for something that are very top of the shelf products with very simplistic ideas, I just love you guys, and I want to thank you very, very much, because your company is gaining recognition with our office daily, and I can't say enough good things about you guys and your firm, so thank you. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to call me. I would absolutely love to engage in a conversation with any of you. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Deb. Is there any other questions or anything that I'm not sure if anyone's still on the line, but if there's a question or two, we might be able to answer that. If not, we can always, you know, answer any questions offline as well.
We don't have any questions at this time, Ty.
Okay, perfect. Well, again, Deb, thank you again for the opportunity. We do appreciate the time to share our story, and if you need anything from us, just give us a call.
I will. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.